Alright guys, we all know why we clicked on this video, but if you are new, do give a sub and a like, and let's get into the guide. So at one stage, Eddie will be leaving and we basically have to fend for ourselves. So if all of you've played this before, you'll know what I mean. You kinda get stuck with low money and that. Right, we just heard the gunshots, and now what you want to do is make your way to the computer. You're going to want to pay off your debt to Eddie, and then whatever your allowance is with the cartel, you want to max it out. You want to completely buy everything. Now looking at my screen, you can all see I've maxed out from what I previously said. So now we can begin to get to the end game content. I don't have to record in on what's next, but basically you want to head over to the three sites to investigate, and then you have to then speak to one of Eddie's friends, and then he'll tell you to go to the gang you met earlier to get some stuff off them. Now we're just gonna be setting up this apartment to be one of the labs, so yeah, the only downside is you have to use one of your workers for this, but you can definitely get more workers along the way. Right, so go here. There we go. For those of you who are new and don't know, you put your money in this safe, and when you have the correct money, your worker will basically start making the next batch, which you'll see in a minute. Just over here, and there you'll see how much it is per batch and how much you get. We now head over to see, I think David it is, and he basically tells you about what's going on, and we have to basically do this job where we have to go up to 4 antennas or something, these towers, and yeah, I'll quickly show you where each one is. So the first one I went to is in the C sector, where it's basically by where you get the key of that worker. Head back to the B sector, and there'll be one just like the other side. And then one just outside by where that group is. And the last one will be right by the end over here. Now we're gonna wanna head back to our home, go onto the laptop, and there should be an email and some clues what to follow next. Right, so this is the email we all get, and if we head over to the behind the supermarket and wait for someone to come to the door, and then we have to copy their knock sequence to be let in. But yeah, we have to then talk to this guy over here, make our way downstairs, and we should see this letter on the table for a funeral home. So now we're gonna have to go and find that funeral place, talk to the guy to find out where the stash is, and then once we're done talking to him, we now have to go and pick up the bums. Right, now we're gonna head up to the cemetery, and you have to, nose around, have a look for which ones to plant it, but it will pop up on your screen once we get there. And once all done, we're then gonna have to run before we get hit by any of the explosives. Right, now we're gonna wanna head over to 2 towers. There'll be a ladder in this alleyway, and then we'll see this person up here we have to make a deal with, and he basically wants 100 amp and 10 concrete. So for that, yeah, if you go over to sector C to the construction worker, you can buy some of him for 200. I already had the amp stuff at my apartment, so I got that done quite quickly. Right, so now we're gonna wanna head down, go across the road, and there'll be a signal flare we click on, like so. And then once that's done, we'll go back to our friend in Sector B, and yeah, after that, we basically have to go back to our first apartment and potentially break into someone else's apartment bit. Right now, once we get in, basically we'll then have to get on the phone to Eddie, and he basically tells us that this empire is ours now, and yeah, we have to basically name our empire, and then the game rolls the credits. So yeah, if any of you like guides like this, do leave a like, sub, and I'll see you in the next one.